Welcome participants to today's webinar on the topic agriculture, entrepreneurship and rural development. And it will be taken by none other than Professor K.B. Ramappa from Institute for Social and Economic Change, Bangalore. Now, the convener of the group, C.A. Pankaj Saji has joined. So, sir will be talking about his thought on this topic. And after that, Professor Ramappa, you can continue. So over to you, sir.
Very good evening to one and all. It is indeed a pleasure to host this seminar under Group for Development of Rural Economy. Indeed, this is a new group and shows the commitment of ICAI towards development of rural economy, which is in line with the government's intention, government's commitment for fostering of rural economy. Today's seminar is on webinar is on Agri Entrepreneurship and rural development, where we have an esteemed speaker, Professor Ramappa ji, who is from Institute of Social and Economic Change, Bangalore. So we welcome sir, and without wasting much time, I think we would start the session so that we all will be benefited by his address. So welcome to all the participants, sir, and Professor Ramappa. Over to you, Nikhil ji.
Thank you, sir. You can start.
Thank you, sir. Shall I share my PPT, sir, now?
Yeah, you can share.
Hope it is audible. It's seen, sir. Visible, no, sir?
Yes, it's visible.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. Pleasant to be here today to talk about that lies the heart of India's sustainable future, Agri Entrepreneurship development. Imagine a rural India where farming is no longer a struggle for survival, but a thriving business opportunity where don't migrate out of villages, but build startups in them. This is not a distant dream. It is happening today. And it holds a transformative potential. As we know, for 63% of India's population lives in rural areas, and agriculture remains their primary livelihood. However, challenges like productivity, climate risk, market access continue to threaten their prosperity. The solution lies not just more farming, but in entrepreneurial farming, followed by innovation, institutions, and policies. Today, I will be walk you through this evolving landscape of entrepreneurship. Its emergence, support systems, success stories, challenges we have, and potential to reshape rural India. Let's begin by briefly understanding what Agri Entrepreneurship means and why it matters. It is unlike any other business. Entrepreneurship in agriculture means to say that marketing and production of various agricultural products, as well as agricultural inputs. It's along the supply chain from the point of production to production, so the land preparation from there it starts. Once applying innovation, technology, and business strategies, farming, or even food processing, value chain. It plays a very important role as the quality and life of economic.
Sir, your voice is not very clear. Can you speak? Your voice is not very clear. Can you speak a bit louder so that?
Sir,
okay.
I put it 100%, sir.
Okay, fine. Okay.
Hereby. Is it audible, sir, now? Hello?
Yes. So you can start.
Yes. Yeah, if you see the importance of agri entrepreneurship, like how it is contributing of economic growth, employment, development as such, security, And this is how the importance level of entrepreneurship is. Definitely know that, contributing income generation, modernizing the agriculture, market linkages and value addition. That's what we have been talking about agribusiness. Empowering women and youth. There are interesting figures. Enhancing the rural infrastructure and services, sustainability, because the country has decided for SDGs. Contribution in agriculture.
Sir, voice is not coming.
Sir,
Your voice is now coming. Some
is it audible, sir?
yes,
Hello?
yes, now audible.
I don't know what is the problem. Maybe an internet issue, I think.
Yes, yes.
So this is how the Agri Entrepreneurship is contributing for development.
You can switch off the video.
Yes, sir. So now is it clear, sir?
Clear hai?
Clear, I know, sir.
Yes, yes.
So the agriculture entrepreneurship, how is contributing to rural development? I have just listed here. So if you before getting into the entrepreneurship, let us understand the rural scenario in India. See the population share. About 63% of the population still resides in the rural areas. So is equating around 909 million people. So at the same time, there is the urban population growing by the rate of 2.1% in 2023. The population growth was marginal at 0.03, indicating the ongoing urbanization trends. However, in terms of employment, agriculture sector provides a livelihood support to 42% of the India's population. In terms of GDP, it is contributing to 18.2%. And in terms of workforce engagement, it is, like as per the periodic labor force survey, PLFS 22-23, it's contributing around 46% of the workforce engaged in agriculture. So what are the implications for agripreneurship and the rural development? If you want to understand, it will be talked more about large rural market. More than 900 million people living in the rural market. That means to say that there is a substantial market. In terms of employment opportunities, there are a lot of introduction practices and technologies in the recent days. It is not like as usual agriculture. Nowadays, everyone is treating it as an agribusiness. So these technologies are really helping in the increase in productivity of the farmers. So then it's also contributing, in terms of economic diversification. The need for value addition, diversification, and modernization sectors are very much in need. So, what are the traditional, how the challenges in traditional rural livelihoods are affecting in terms of different challenges? If you consider, agriculture challenges, if you want to see, there are a lot of fragmented land holdings. So day by day, the size holding of land increasing. So monsoon dependency, the majority of the Indian agriculture is on monsoon. And there is a problem of low productivity and market access. So the farmers are producing, but we are unable to take it to the market wherever there is a demand, and price volatility. If you want to see the livestock and other allied activities, there are lack of veterinary services and fodder and water. Only we have around 7. There is a 70% shortage of fodder for the animals, and water. Water has been a problem everywhere. Same thing is happening with the condition also. And most of these livestock and other activities are all unorganized. Still, they are like a traditional one. So The other sector, if you want to see that handicrafts, weaving and cottage industry, there is a declining trend for handicrafts. See, we are all, though we say modern, we are forgetting the traditional. So there is a declining trend, lack of branding and marketing for products, and credit constraints also are one of the important issues. And in terms of labor and migration, there is a seasonal unemployment. People one place to other places during some seasons. Suppose, like Maharashtra or Karnataka, if you take, at the time of sugar cane harvesting, only the Maharashtra people will migrate to Karnataka. Or different districts of the same state, like Maharashtra will come to the sugar cane production belt. Or in Karnataka are also. That is how, there is a seasonal unemployment. Distress migration, and because of the non-availability of job, they are trying to shift. And there is a low wages. In addition to this, the other problems are in terms of infrastructure and access. There is a poor rural connectivity, limited access to education and healthcare in the rural areas, inadequate storage and cold chains. That is how, as soon as they produce, as soon as they harvest, the farmers try to sell their products because of the inadequate storage and cold chain facilities in the rural areas. Especially cold chains, when handling fresh fruits and vegetables, much need for cold chains, but they are all not available in the rural areas. Then policy and institutional gaps, if you want to see, there is a low awareness of schemes. So the country or the state or the central government has so many schemes. If you go and ask the rural people, they are unable to tell the one of the scheme. Very rarely, except the PM Kisan, like recently the 6,000 rupees they are getting. None other schemes they are been able to tell them. And there are land ownership issues. Most of there are land ownership, still the records are not there in their names. Okay. That may be in their grandfather or mother. So since they do not have a land ownership, they are unable to access the credit. And there is a gender inequality. See, now I am moving on to how this youth migration to urban area is happening in the country. See, I have just gone through some of the data of NSS 64 national samples collected in 7 and 8. See, rural to rural, the male migration is around 50%, female migration 60%. Whereas rural to urban, 33.5% case of male migrants, 16% in the But interestingly, you also see urban to rural area, it is happening at the rate of 20% of males and 8% in the case of females. Even urban to urban, there is a migration. That is to an extent of 27% male migrants, 13%. Why these migrations are happening? See, it is not restricted to rural to urban, also happening within the rural to rural and urban to urban. So why this is happening is mainly because of employment, education. Some of the primary reasons for migrations. Then there is a declining in rural to urban migration. If you see the figures of 2011 and 23, rural to urban migration was around 38% in 2011, and it has come down to 29%. This maybe you can say the one after the COVID-19, maybe okay. So this decline has led to the urbanization, higher dependence on agriculture, irrigation, and rural waste stagnation. The most of the techno trends, what we are saying nowadays, they are all after the COVID, trying to move the rural areas. Many have purchased the land and they started agriculture. That is a good thing that's happening in Indian condition. So in terms of distribution of internal migration streams, this rural to rural migration remains the most prevalent. That is around 55%, while rural to urban migration constitutes significant proportion. Still, cannot say that to urban migration stopped. It is at the significant proportion at the rate of around 60%. So this is about the current scenario of migration. Then I am moving on to the emergence of agri entrepreneurship. How the agri entrepreneurship emerged in Indian scenario. So if you see the farming, earlier, there was a subsistence. There was a subsistence farming. Means the farmers are producing for themselves, for their own consumption. So, but the things are changing now. People are oriented towards market. So I have just classified this period into like pre-independence, independence. Then there is a time of Green Revolution, I think 1965 up to 1991, we can say. Then liberalization era and post. Then see pre-independence, there was largely subsistence. That means that the small products they were growing food for their own family consumption. Limited market surplus. But in the post-independence, the same thing was continued, but there was a food scarcity in the country. When the Bengal famine, all those things were happened at the high level. State-driven agriculture, because of the state-driven agricultural policies. Now, no, because of these stress, the government of India has come up, like when MS Swaminathan, when he was a director general of ICR, they have come up with a concept called green revolution. Here, the nature of farming was commercial. But what is green revolution is nothing but there was a lot of introduction of technologies in agriculture, like high yielding varieties. They created irrigation facilities, started supplying chemical fertilizers, particularly in major growing areas like and rice, Punjab, Haryana, and it is later extended to the country. So if you see the other period in the 91 onwards, that is where the liberalization started. So the economy, the country has opened. During that, nature of farming, you can say that gradual market started from there. So there the people started thinking on emphasis on exports and concept of agribusinesses. Contract farming has started coming. Okay. So then later in 2000 to present days, we are able to see the agri entrepreneurship and value chain development. There is a growth of agri technology. So see, farmer producer organization earlier called cooperative farming. So that is the term taken the shape of farmer producer organizations. Then food processing have started. Even the crop diversification has started from then onwards. That is where we lead to the commercial farming. So how, if you want to say the current status, I have just listed some of the things like what aspect subsistence farming was and the commercial farming. If you take the scale, majority of the small and marginal landholders till today, more than 86% landholders are the small and marginal farmers in this country. Okay. So they are growing for themselves since still they are depending upon subsistence. But the large holdings, like now because of the collectivization or the growth of farmer producer organization, they are thinking of commercial farming they started. What focus, like the subsistence farming was giving was like family food needs during the subsistence farming. But in the case of commercial farming, there is a market-oriented production. So what crops they were growing? The subsistence farming, there is farmers were growing cereals and pulses. But in the case of commercial farming, people are going towards fruits, vegetables, spices, cash crops. In the regions, mostly this subsistence farming is seen in the case of rain-fed areas only, but commercial farming is seen in the case of irrigated and peri-urban belts. So technology use was very minimum during subsistence farming, but commercial farming has led to the use of more technology. Like, you might have seen the drones are using for the spraying of agriculture chemicals. Even the nutrients like nano urea and all sprayed through the drones. Sensors, some grape production, there is a lot of sensors, mobile applications, etc. And there is a stronger, the impetus towards the commercial farming, for market linkages. Like mandis, if you see the government, ENAM was started, wherein a lot of mandis were trying to network. Online platform was created for selling. The contracting system is working, and e-commerce is also happening in recent days. So what we can say is that still till today we can say that in India there is a dualistic nature of farming. There we can see both subsistence farming and commercial. The individual smallholders are following the subsistence farming, whereas the group of farmers or collectives, they are getting into the commercial. And but we can say that there is an emergence of people are moving towards the commercial farming. And we can also see some of the like startups, farmer producer organization, value chains, like development you can see. So in terms of why they are shifting from subsistence to commercial farming, because of the growth in the agricultural modernization, started adopting more hybrid varieties, more mechanization, irrigation, better inputs. You might be seeing, earlier in villages, there used to be animals, the two local indigenous animals. But if you go to any villages nowadays, you not be able to see cows. And most of the people have left the growth of livestock. Okay. So they are, earlier, they used to produce the farm manure, organic organic fertilizer was produced by themselves. But because of the presence of livestock, nowadays you are unable to see. That is the reason the government of India is trying to come up with alternative solutions like vermicompost and all. So education and awareness, farmers are increasingly understand the values of profit motives. See, there used to be a production of only 1 or 2 crops in a year, but you might be seeing, you go to any village, you will be seeing a greenery, because there is the intensive production of something or the other. In all the season, the farmers have started producing. So there is a market integration. I was talking about the aggregation of mandis, then export opportunities are emerging. Then in terms of income aspiration, more farmers are, this is the reason farmers are shifting to the commercial farming. Need to increase support, better education, healthcare, living standard, whatever it may be. So even the government policies are also supporting to this, for the commercial farming. Then value addition, might have seen, in any crop if you take, there is a focus on value addition. So there is a value addition in the sense, earlier most of the farmers were selling in the form of raw materials. Now we are encouraging them to go for value adding, even just packaging, cleaning, washing, grading. These are all the forms of value additions. That is happening. Now the people are also worried about branding of the types. The technology, and in terms of technology and digital, there are a lot of digital platforms have come up for anything for that matter. Take inputs or marketing of products, weather forecasting. There are some solutions. So then private sector also involved, but lot of people are coming forward with contract farming. There are food chains, especially rural supermarkets and all. We see fruits and vegetables were earlier sold in a bag or big basket, but nowadays there are different formats have emerged. Okay, so supermarkets wherein you we're seeing, fruits and vegetables are stored under the air conditioned shops. That is how there is a shift agri business. Then in terms of crop
Sir,
production,
the voice is not very clear. I think some technical issue is there. Kindly, if
sir, actually 100% I kept voice.
okay,
Uh,
okay.
it is disturbing, sir. Not clear.
Yeah, yeah. Your presentation is very nice, but the thing is, some wavering thing is there. So anyhow, you can continue. No issue.
So screen is visible, no, sir?
Yeah. It's visible.
Yeah. So sorry to bother you, sir. I don't know. Nobody is there to help me also in terms of technical things. But I
Okay.
put 100% volume. Let us see,
Okay.
sir.
Fine. Okay, fine.
Okay. Then
Presentation is very nice.
yes, sir. Thank you very much. Yeah. So what are all the major areas of innovation and technologies are happening in the agriculture if you want to see? In each stage of the supply chain, like from the before crop production till we sell it, like at different stages, we can see the adoption of technologies and innovations. Suppose if you see the crop production, people started using high yielding varieties. Sir, you believe it or not? So most of the cases, if you go and ask any farmers, they do not have a seeds at all because they purely depend upon the companies only, MNCs only, for these high yielding varieties. See, high yielding varieties are produced, researched by the MNCs and they made available to the farmers. So, like that is the reason, majority farmers nowadays, are depend upon the MNCs only for the high yielding varieties. Most of the crops, wherever the high yielding varieties are there, farmers simply, adopted hybrid seeds. Even nowadays we are talking about genetically modified crops, GM crops we call. Though there is a debate, larger debate, not to getting into the GM crops, modified crops. But there are some varieties, like some vegetables like brinjal, if you take. There was a larger problem of PT, where Bacillus thuringiensis pest. Okay. To control that, they have come up with modified crop. So that is, resistant to this PT. So like that, in the crop production, irrigation, if you see, there are, almost of the farmers, they started adopting the drip or sprinkler type of irrigation. Even the government is, encouraging to use of solar powered pumps, smart irrigation using sensors, especially in the poly houses, kind of irrigation sensors you can see. So farm mechanization, I told you, the farmers have stopped using the bullocks. They somehow depend upon the machines like tractors, combine harvesters. For spraying, I was giving an example. Drones for spraying, it is also encouraged by the government of India by introducing the recent scheme called Namo Drone DD scheme. Might be aware of it, wherein the woman was given a drones to create, and it is a part of a woman empowerment, the help of rural people. So that is how the free of cost the drones were given. So that is how the more mechanization is agriculture. In terms of, especially some of the crops like grapes, most of the farmers even adopted precision agriculture, GIS, GPS, remote sensing, soil testing, tech kits were adopted. So that they can identify what is the need for the crop, what crops needs now, whether it needs water, and which nutrient. All this can be possible with the help of precision. Farmers have started using it. Your agriculture digital platforms have come up, like mobile apps. If you see some the e-nam is one market for online, weather and risk tools like crop insurance, the Prime Minister Fasal Bima Yojana. There are real-time forecast also. That is how each and every stage we are able to see the adoption of technologies in agriculture in the recent years. Even AI and ML, the Internet of Things, for used in agriculture for pest prediction, yield forecasting, automated irrigation, like that. So how the agri-tech startups is growing, what to see? I just try to collect the data from the NASCOM. See the number of agriculture technology startups in 2013 were approximately around 50. But today, we can see more, the estimated figures in 2024, if you see, there are more than 2,200 plus startups have come up, or we can expect. In terms of total investment, if you see, it was, during 2013, it was less than 10 million. Now it is more than $2.5 billion. So the annual funding, you see, that has a drastic, significant improvement in terms, but within the 10 years, from $1.1 million in 13 to 450 plus million in 2020. So what are the key sectors? As I said, any sector if you take, like inputs or market link, technology like drone, IoT, AI, climate technology, even carbon markets have come up, sir. Nowadays, people are talking about carbon markets. I will be telling you carbon market later. This is the rise in agri-tech startups. So, what are the top agriculture startup categories and the leaders you want to see? In the case of input market, there are AgroStar, eMart. They are giving solution to seeds. Market linkages, each and everyone are concerned about it. But there are important two people like Ninja Cart, Zach. They are trying to supply, taking care of the supply chain of especially fruits and vegetables, farm to market. And even they can able to predict the price story. Then credit insurance, Samunati and gram cover. In terms of farm mechanization, EM3, drones, and IoT we are talking about. Garuda Aerospace. In the scheme I was mentioning, the Namo drone DC scheme, the Garuda Aerospace is 100 drones to farmers. So they are mainly used for spraying and pest analytics and mapping. Post harvest and cold chain, if you take RA.AG, sustainable agri-tech, if you are talking about, then you find startup like Ecogen, Absolute. They are giving us climate smart solution, solar cold chain farming community. So these are all the important developments are happening in terms of agri-tech and the startups. So investor activity in agri-technology, if you want to see over the period from 90 to 50, there are a lot of, there is a substantial increase in number of deals. Started with 43 to now 60 plus. Total funding, if you see, $142 billion, more than $400 billion. Major investors have just given some names. Just have a look at. So how these role of self-help groups, farmer producer organizations, cooperatives are being the agri entrepreneurship to understand. These are all the grassroots institutions try to help in mobilizing the communities, enhancing the farm productivity, strengthening market linkages, empowering the rural. Okay, so their features, like how they are different. I'm trying to tell in this table. Like I have listed some features and how the SHG and cooperatives are different. In the case of SHGs, the women are mainly the focus. They are the primary members. In case of farmer producer organization, any small and marginal members. Whereas in the case of cooperatives, before FPOs, there was a concept called wherein any farmers varying size of land holding able to become primary lenders. But the SHG's main focus was on microfinance and lending, but FPOs are focusing more on whatever we are discussing today, agribusiness and markets. So in the case of cooperatives, they are the version of the primary version of FPOs only. They are interested more in collective production and market. So FPOs are the legal entities, whereas SHGs are the formal registered groups. So whereas cooperatives are registered with the Society Act. So each one have their own strengths. Like if you take SFGs, the social cohesion, discipline, whereas FPOs, they are more focused on market-oriented entrepreneurship. That is the strength of FPOs. And that is the reason, the government of India is planning to have more than 10,000 FPOs in the days to come. In terms of cooperatives, they are long-standing networks, they larger scale of production. But there are some limitations, like SHGs have the very limited capital and the scale of production is also minimal. Whereas the FPOs requires they are capable of expanding, but they have a problem with managing skills. That is the reason a lot of NGOs have come forward to train the farmer producer organizations. Even NABARD has a small farmers agribusiness consortium, SFAC. They're all trying to build more capacity building. Whereas in the case of cooperatives, why they are trying to fail is because of the bureaucratic issues of cooperatives. That is the reason, the government of India started focusing more on farmer organizations. How they are contributing to the rural transformation? So all these grassroots institutions, trying to empower the facilitate value chain integration, post-harvest value addition, and they try to increase the farmers' income by realizing better prices. They are trying to enable the access to the finance, training, and innovations. Ultimately, they try to promote sustainable community-led agri entrepreneurship. So now I am moving on to the what are the government policies and initiatives that really are helping building up of agri entrepreneurship. In this slide, I thought of giving some schemes like there is one scheme called ARIA, attracting and retaining in agriculture. So that is one of the important schemes for empowering the rural youth with skills, resources, the entrepreneurial opportunities. There is a scheme called Skill Training of Rural Youth. That is try to help the upgrade the skills of rural. There is a very famous scheme called ACABC, that is Agri Clinic and Agri Science. This is promoted by the National Agriculture Extension Institute. Country is Manage Hyderabad. So they are implementing this scheme. In this, they are encouraging agriculture graduates to entrepreneurship. They are giving 1 month rigorous training. Whatever the proposal they have, whatever the business idea they have. So once the training is over, they are able to get a subsidy. They are able to get a loan of 25 lakh to 1 crore. In group, they can get up to 1 crore. Individually, they are eligible to get up to 25 lakhs with loan subsidy up to 44% for the generals, 50% in the case of others. There is another scheme called Digital Agriculture Mission that is implemented very recently, wherein they are trying to promote AI, blockchain, and or digital related. Then there is a scheme called Agri Startups, RKVI Raftar, Rashtriya Krishi Vikasa Yojana. This was the scheme implemented in the 11th planning. They have spent around more than 60,000 crores. Especially mainly to facilitate the infrastructural support in the in agriculture, related to agriculture. So they in this scheme, they support rural innovators and entrepreneurs. They are here also they can you know, grant up to 25 lakh for agri startups via NPS. Then there is another very important scheme that recently launched by the government of India, is the Agri Infrastructure Fund, AIF. This supports the startups and the storage, logistics, and technology. There is a interest subvention of 3% for loans up to. So this is the scheme is now attracting the youth. Many are coming forward to create infrastructure. Then there is another scheme called Startup Village Entrepreneurship. Promote rural startups through SHGs and ANRLM. Self-help groups and National Rural Livelihood. Another such scheme is called PM formalization of micro food processing enterprises that support micro food processors, credit training and branding. So here, the support is in the form of credit linked subsidy. They are able to get 35% of 10 lakh that are eligible in this case. So similarly, like other schemes like ENAM I was mentioning from the first slide, that is about national agriculture market. It's the online trading platform. Integrated more than 1,000 mandis so far. Especially 12 states are actively involved and still it is trying to expand. And there is a system of ICR and KVKs in this country, that is Indian Council of Agriculture Research, and they have a setup called Krishi Vijnana Kendras. So they demonstrate technology and provide farmers training. There are about 800 KVKs in the country for extension of agriculture related. So now might be knowing, this formation and promotion of 10,000 FPO scheme, which has been in our Honorable Prime Minister has been focusing, and he said that, need to create farmer producer organization. That is how they planned the farmer to come. So they organize small farmers enterprises by giving a equity grant of 50 lakhs per FP farmer producer. Even they give credit guarantees and with capacity building. There are other schemes like Atmanirbhar Bharat and Agri Entrepreneurship, wherein there is a ENAM expansion, contract farming, essential commodity sector. These are all the recent schemes that try to make changes in the schemes, which can really support the agri entrepreneurship. So MSME supports also available under this. Then there is a Deen Dayal Antyodaya Yojana, that is national livelihood mission. Here the focus is on rural poverty alleviation through the use of self-help groups, livelihood support. So because of this scheme, they could be able to mobilize more than 8.4 million SHGs in the country. And very popular program, MG Narega, everyone knows about this. This is indirectly strengthening the rural infrastructures like the roads, irrigation, creating a farm bonds in the farmers' field. Okay. So that really has a positive impact in terms of reducing the distress migration, supporting the agriculture. So apart from this, there are schemes for Startup India and Stand Up India. Startup India was launched in 2016 by the DPIT, Promotion of Industry and Agriculture. When the objective under the Startup India is that support startups. Then it has really made an impact on the agriculture, so that able to see more than 2,000 plus agri startups recognized as of 20. So similar in Stand Up India initiatives, by the Department of Financial Services. Here they mainly to promote the entrepreneurship on scheduled castes, scheduled tribes, and the women. So it can really encourage the women-led rural agri enterprises especially in the case of dairy and handicrafts. So this tried to help bridge financial access gap for undeserved sections through the integrating with the Skill India, Digital India, Mudra Yojana, like that. Then I was mentioning about this. There is a RKVU and Raftar, Rashtriya Krishi Vikasa Yojana, and the remunerative approaches for the allied sector. Rejuvenation is called as Raftar, wherein uh, government of India has to help build more and more infrastructures as such in the India. Thereby they can create more infrastructures like and it supported the Agri Entrepreneurship development, wherein the funding and mentoring of startups through Agri was given. Till today, that is called as RABI, RKVY, Rural Agri Business Incubation. Okay, that is operated under the RKVY Raftar. There are special sub schemes like per drop more crop. That's again related to irrigation. Then beekeeping, agroforestry are also doing. So here, one of the important noted point in the RKV is that there is a flexibility given to the states. They can decide what they want to do. So this is the only scheme has given more flexibility to the states. That is how we can able to see most of the infrastructure creation in the rural India. But it has a negative impact. I think they have come up with that. They created more of contracts, concrete in the country under this scheme. Okay. Then there is a provision for value addition market linkage. Then I was mentioning about this presentation, NRLM, National Rural Livelihood Mission. So if you want to see how it has helped the country, the number of SHGs farmers were 83.21 lakh as on today. 2024. Then they have created more women who are mobilized into the SHGs. There are 9.89 crore members of women members in these SHGs. Then there are the village organizations, cluster level federations. So the cumulative bank loans were taken into 7.68 lakh crore. They have created a revolving fund around 7,367 crores. Then they have also come up with the HSGs have also formed some of the FPOs. 401 FPOs are formed by these SHGs themselves. So over the last 9 years, you see the expenditure of NRLM has increased sevenfold. Other than that, there are schemes like Pradhana Mantri formalization of right? More than 50,000 were come up with under this scheme. More than 1 lakh individuals have undergone training under this scheme. Here, there is a product-specific clusters have been developed across the states. The other important is Pradhana Mantri Kisan Urja Suraksha Mahabhiyan. That is, they try to focus more on use of solar energy. Okay, there are more than 397 megawatts of electricity was produced this under this scheme. So 4 lakh farmers are benefited under this, and more than 4 lakh pumps were installed with solar, replaced with earlier electricity. Then, in terms of ENAM, if you want to see, it is in 7 states for 951 markets, and the total trade value, if you see, it is around 3.79 lakh crore happening under ENAM, and it is covered 131 commodities. Then the important scheme I was mentioning, that Agri Clinics and Agri Center, ACABC scheme. So what is a Agri Clinics and Agri Business are nothing but Agri Clinics are nothing but they are the clinics established to provide expert advice to farmers on various aspects of it. Whereas Agri Business Centers, they supply inputs like seed, fertilizer, like services, more of the services to the site, including the custom hiring of farm equipment, done under the agri centers. So here, this scheme has trained more than 82,000, 673 candidates were trained under this scheme. And they around 35,716, around 40% of them have started ventures, those who are trained under the scheme. So this could be able to establish, 134 total training institutions across the country. Okay. And just, in 23-24, 560 people under ACA. I told once they train under this scheme, they are eligible to get up to 25 lakhs individually in the form of loan. Okay. And if they are coming in a group, they can able to get up to 1 crore. Yeah, then I'm moving on to the different institutions, which are really helping build the agri entrepreneurship and the rural country. So they are mainly the NABARD, National Bank for Agricultural Development, ICR, Indian Research, Manage, that is National Institute of Agriculture, Hyderabad, and the last one is the SFAC, Small Farmers Agribusiness. So what NABARD is doing? NABARD is trying to financing the farm, capacity building. They are also trying to help product development, policy advocacy, conducting the direction, what to do, what not to do for agriculture. Whereas the agriculture, Indian Council of Agriculture Research, ICR, mainly focusing on agriculture research. They have more than 500 institutions across the country, mainly give education like BSc in agriculture, masters and PhDs. Then they also do extension, the help of Krishi Vijnana Kendra. I was telling you, there are more than about 800 KVKs in the country are operating under this extension. And apart from this, they also give policy advocacy. So what Manage is doing? Manage is mainly focusing on training and capacity of the rural youth, those who are really interested in agribusiness and entrepreneurship. Then they give management education. They have an MBA in agribusiness and they have PGDM for agriculture export. Like they also do research and consultancy, policy advocacy, and they also give information services and policy support. See, if you want to see the information services, in the case of Manage, if you want any case study, if you want to see, just go to their website. They have a list of more than 5,000 case studies. Successful, failure, and why successful, all the things. That information is managed with the managers. SFAC, that is Small Farmers Agribusiness Association, they are promoting the farmer organizations. This is not only SFAC, farmer producer organizations are promoted by NABARD, state government, private people, even NGOs, and this agency. So they are the lead promoter of that is National Agriculture Marketing. Then they are trying to help them in creating market linkages. So apart from this, they also do capacity building and training and give financial assistance for FPPs. So what are the key statistics of NABARD? See individual one by one. See the NABARD. They have credit for that growth. That is 13.6% growth from they give short-term finance up to 1,83,150 crores. Long-term finance, infrastructure finance up to 54,287 crores were disbursed in the past. So the operational of farmer producer organization, as I said, this is also one of the organizations promoting FPOs. They have started 81 off-farm producer organizations across 27 states. So they are really helping in constructing roads, especially in the rural area. They have built around 5.6 lakh kilometers of rural area, roads, in rural bridges, storages they've created, warehouse, skill development programs like MED, all these things were undertaken by the NABARD. You see ICR, you know, some of the key statistics if you want to see. There are 113 institutes across the country and 74 agricultural universities under ICR umbrella. They have released 344 crop varieties or different pest resistance, disease resistance, water resistance. Like whatever the case you take, there are some technology in crop varieties. So they have developed around 1,234 new agricultural technologies and practices. So, I mentioned this in the Krishi Vikas Kendras. They have around 731 KVs across the country, and they have trained about 5.5 million farmers. Apart from this, they also publish so many research articles. They have patents were filed, and they are collaborating with national and international organizations. Similarly, if you want to see the other one, manage, they have a PGDM agreement management in terms of education. They are conducting trainings, and they have developed so many online courses. They have a program called DESI in agriculture extension services of inputs. The input dealers, like sellers of fertilizers, chemicals, seeds. So they were all trained under managed DESI. So apart from this, they also have a digital extension initiatives. They also publish publications of very high reputed journals. They trained, women in entrepreneurship. So I was mentioning about whatever the case study, if you want to go, you can access to the managed website and see. They have documented the women that have built startups and also. The other one is SFAC, that is small farmers. Some of the key statistics I have mentioned here, like integration, capacity building, and venture capital assistance, especially they offers financial assistance to agribusiness projects. So these are also some of the key statistics of SFAC. Then I'm moving on to incubation centers and agribusiness country. Why you should have incubation centers? So because to create an agri entrepreneurship environment ecosystem, India has developed a robust network of entrepreneurship centers. They offer mentorship, funding, infrastructure, market access to the innovation system. So there are some key agri-business centers in the country. If you want to name a few, Manage is one. Manage Center for Innovation Program. AIDEA norm. That is also ICR institution. Not the ICR institution. They have same in Hyderabad. And the NAVIC, the ICR Nivedi Bengaluru. The ICR also IRA campus, PUSA campus in New Delhi. They have one. Similarly, ICRISAT, International Crop Research for semi and arid regions, that is CGIAR institution. They have also have. So apart from that, there are some listed. So other than this, there are some other institutions like universities, the state agriculture universities, and NGOs, how they are contributing. So, see the universities only. So they are mainly functioning for research and innovation. They are also entrepreneurship like PGDM, agribusiness management, agriculture, MBA in agribusiness, certificate programs for different entrepreneurship activities. They have incubation centers I mentioned, like NARM, they are managed. What of this? Then they are Also creating skill development, conduct vocational courses under experiential learning program. It's a RAWE program. It's experiential learning and rural awareness work experience program is compulsory program like a medical. They have to go and undergo, after completing the degree, 1 year they have to work in the rural area. So similarly, the agriculture students should have to go to village to learn get the village experience. That program is called as RAWE. That is the contribution of the students. And apart from this, they also give extension services to Shivdana Kendras. So what they do really, they disseminate technology and entrepreneurship model to the farmers. So that is universities. So now I am coming to the NGOs, non-government organizations, how they are contributing. There are very important, prominent non-government organizations like PAVE, that is Bharatiya Agri Entrepreneurship. There is another called SEVA, Self-Employed Women's Association. North India, they have moved forward with Pradhan, Professional Assistant for Development. Other than that, there are many, foundations of like Dan Foundation, Ramikas, and something like that. There are the prominent non-government organizations. How they are contributing to development? They give capacity building. They have a grassroots like facilitating formation of mobilizing the communities, collective marketing, advocate for access to finance and inputs also one of the important things they have been doing. And technology transfer will demonstrate a new agriculture technology in collaboration with the institutions. Undertake such. Then, like any other research institutions, they also involved in policy advocacy. Like they try to influence the rural development policy by documenting the grassroots issues, piloting scalable models. So that is how the NGOs are contributing. So there are some examples of collaborative work, like Pradhan and wife. They together, started promoting agri-based livelihoods like horticulture, livestock, silviculture among the tribal and rural. So like agriculture university and NGO models, there are joint training programs they undertake, like manage IRI, IRMA. They have scaled the community level entrepreneurship. Even the Krishi Gnana Kendras and some NGOs, rural NGOs, they demonstrate new. Apart from that, I saw they are also involved in policy advocacy. They are collaborating to disseminate the climate resilient farming, income diversity. These are some of the collaborative attempts made by the NGOs, other institutions. This is what I have been doing, but I am now getting into some of the case studies, very successful case studies in this country. Just name them. You can able to access. Go to their website and see how excellently they have been excelled. One such firm is the Maha Groups. So that is like Maharashtra Grape Growers Association. This is established in 19 Maharashtra. They mainly focus on grape production and export. Not believe the way the technology adopted by the growers. I was mentioning earlier. They use sensors. They use precision agriculture. They try to see what they can predict what probable diseases can come next few days. Okay. What nutrient is required. So such kind of a technology adoption they are doing. So that is the reason. This is the only organization exporting more than 96% of the grapes to other countries. So this is a consortium of cooperative societies. There are over 15 cooperative societies for merged. Mainly major activities are export of grapes, training in standards, and marketing. They have followed some of the export certifications like gap, nothing but good agriculture practices. Global gap, follow HACCP, residue management. These are all certificates they have. That is how they are been exporting grapes to more than 40 countries across the country, across the world. So they have exported around 3 lakh 41 tons. That is, I was mentioning, like 96% of India's total. So that is valued around 3,393. This is one of the best example we can give any form. This is Mahagrams. The other one I want to mention is Bihar. Green Agri Revolution Private Limited. They started their main focus here is farmers. The activities includes agri input supply, crop advisory, market linkages, financial services. Okay. So it is established in 12 by the Shashank Kumar. Bihar. He is an IITN and with his friends like Sam Sundar. Their main head office is in Haryana, and they their turnover is around 700 crores. So this is one of the farmer producer companies. They have registered under the farmer producer. So third example I want to give is Sahyadri Farms. It is again in Nasik, Maharashtra. This is Sahyadri farmers. Okay? Their major focus is on horticulture. This is again a farmer producer company. This was started by Vilas Shinde. So when this firm was started, there were 12 members. Okay. So now the members are more than 26,000 small and medium farmers across 41,000 hectares of land. So they are mainly deal with dry fruits. So they export to around more than 40 countries. So they also have a certifications certified by Eurogap, FSC, APEDA, FSC, USFDA, trade certificates. Their turnover is around more than 1,540. Okay, and they had a net profit of around 72.6 crores in the last year. And they have created more than 6,000 jobs. Out of it, 32% are occupied. So this is another very successful firm of apart from these farmer producer organizations and private companies, there are some women-led SNGs. They also have successful. They also built success. It's like Kumbasri Mission, that is in Kerala, launched in 1998. They have around 4.5 million women under their focus areas in their micro entrepreneurs. There is a Bamleshwari Mahila Bank that is formed in Chhattisgarh. One funded by so they have, as of now, they have more than branches, more than 80,000, and their major focus area is micro loans for agriculture, health, and small business. There is another example I like Manipur, that is Denlang SNG, establishing member SNG. They are promoting especially savings, credit taxes. See, these are some of the examples I have given. If you want more and more case studies, please manage Hyderabad website. Lots and lots of studies. And and challenges. What are the challenges? Access to credit and market challenge. So, what are the challenges in accessing credit or lack of collateral? I said no, because of the land holding, they are not in their names. They are in somebody else. That is the reason, they lack, because of the land title, unavailability of land titles, they are unable to do this. They say that there are lengthy loan procedures also, document discouraging farmer applying. Even in the nationalized banks, if you go, simply they will not encourage the farmer because of many reasons. Maybe they are unable to pay on time. There are low financial, limited awareness of available schemes. If they know the scheme, they can say that I want to avail under this scheme. If they are not aware of schemes, so I have mentioned so many schemes available, so many facilities are given under them. But because of the lack of financial literacy, they are unable to get this. Credit rationing by banks. Banks often classify agriculture as a high risk, limiting disbursement. Inadequate reach for formal banks. Remote rural areas often lack proper bank help. Till today, our national, so-called national banks do not have a branches at the Gram Panchayat level. Then dependency on informal lenders. Because of all the things, farmers are depending on informal lenders. They charge exorbitant interest rates. Poor loan recovery records, as prior defaults led to reluctance by the banks to offer. These are all the challenges in terms of accessing the credit. So, what are the challenges in accessing the markets? Like, again, there is a lack of market information because they are unaware of right trends, quality. See, though we produce so much of fruits and vegetables, most of our fruits and vegetables we are unable to export because we are lacking with quality requirements. We are unable to satisfy the quality of Western countries. So whoever able to do, they have been excellent. Then there is a dominance of women, like intermediaries exploit both or more. Then poor infrastructures. Though these infrastructure have been developing, but still, not up to the required level. Limited access to farmer mandis. Yes, small farmers may not have access to APMC mandis or platforms. See, they have a smaller land, like 0.5 acres or 1 acres, whatever the limited producing, they cannot. They are unable to take up to the mandis because they are very far. Or minimum they have to travel 50 kilometers. Some of the cases. Then price volatility is because of the fluctuating prices, demand supply mismatch and policy gaps. Lack of farmer collectives. Though we are saying so, we are farming more than 10,000 FPOs, but still there are a lot of problems of limits bargaining power. So then the regulatory constraints are also accessible. And other challenges, if you say like skill gaps and training gaps. Take any sector within the agriculture, like agriculture itself, lack of knowledge on modern farming. See, the animal husbandry, there is inadequate training in livestock training. See, we have followed to an extent of technology in agriculture, but not these subsectors. Still, there is a lot to be done in the cases like animal husbandry, fisheries. Fisheries, there is a gap in sustainable technologies. Nothing we are doing. Whatever is available, we are trying to exploring. But there is lot can be done to processing, poor skills in grading, packaging, value addition. A lot of even malpractices also happening in the, which is better to eat raw food, raw foods or raw foods than preserved because of lot of chemical use. Entrepreneurship, if you take the limited skills in scanning, finance, branding, and digital. ICT and digital literacy, no awareness, skills, both awareness and skills. Renewable energy, if you take lack of skill, for solar, biogas, other sources. So, case of artisans and craft sectors, our technologies are outdated. Design or market. So these are all the skills gaps needed for training. So what are the policy gaps? What to see? So we are talking about land last one, still fragmented and unclear land ownership. They cannot lease the land, and even the land leasing policy is not up to mark in our country. If you see, if you want to give your land for lease here, you want to lease to somebody else, he is unable to get the whatever the government scheme benefits of the government schemes because of problems. Then startup incentives, limited tailored scheme for startup. Credit policies to take. There are collateral heavy lending systems. First generation taxation and compliance, complex GST regulations. There is a confusion around exemptions. Insurance coverage, inadequate access to crop and insurance for agriculture. Till today, though there are schemes for related to crop insurance, but which are not at all, liked by farmers. Still a lot to be done in terms of crop insurance. Digital infrastructures, policy doesn't quickly address the rural broadband access. Market linkage policy, limited government support for market access beyond mandis and export red tape. Sustainability regulations, few incentives for organic and sustainable ventures. That is. So this is how the lot of challenges they have been facing. Some regulatory challenges also I have mentioned here. What for FSSAI regulations, lengthy approval. APMC expect reforms, but the recent reforms to the pay schemes. There are several states still restricted market access. Environmental complaints, Indian terms for setting up a budget. Then there are especially ecologically sensitive zones cannot go at all. EAS and AGMAL certifications, complicated procedures, especially related to the quality certificates. IP and patent laws, IP awareness and support. Licensing for inputs, difficulty in obtaining licenses for selling. And startup registration, there is due to digital documentation hurdles, people were unable to do. I want to give one more example here. So there is a GA, geographical indication. We have given sanctioned 700 plus commodity, still we are unable to achieve the international recognition because of all these challenges. So, but if you compare with other countries like China, Germany, they have given the GA of more than 10,000 products, whereas we are in 700s. That is the problem. Such kind of a problem still. So, how the climate and the environmental impact the agri entrepreneurship, production instability. So that is rainfall, drought, floods, temperature extremes. They reduce crop output. There is a market volatility because of the climate shocks, like price fluctuation, disturbance in supply chains, rise in risk in investment, climate unpredictability, and discourages the private investment. We don't know. See, suppose some crops if you get a price this time, there is no guarantee that the next year also will prices. So scarcity. Water is one of the important that is very scarce in property damage, floods and cyclone damage. Technology disruption, erratic weather, loss of livelihood, farmers and self-help groups that suffer revenue losses, pushing rural youth to migrate. So these are all the challenges now still existing that need to be addressed. So I want to talk about something how the impacting on the rural, all these agri entrepreneurship activities, whatever we discussed so far, how they are impacting on the rural development. I want to give it some statistics, not my all already published, that I want to show how it impacted. I have listed a key themes website, employment generation and if you want to see, as per the Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare, over 5.7 lakh jobs were generated. Supported under scheme. Then, in terms of income of farmers, and this NABARD annual report says that income of farmers who are part of the FPOs has increased by 25 to 30%. So, in terms of women and youth empowerment, see the impact of Kudumbas Remission, Kerala, that has like empowered over 4 million women as per their annual report. The other scheme I was mentioning, ARIA scheme, training youth culture, that has benefited 50,000 plus rural youth. They have taken Agri Ventures as per the ICAR, ARIA progress. In terms of technological transformation, so see the NASCOM has created 1,000 agri-tech startups as of 2020, offering services from soil analysis to AI-based carbon. Startups like BHeart have served 1.5 million farmers by integrating inputs, advisory, and market access and existing farmers. As per the report of BHeart impact. In terms of market access and value chain development, for the report of Ministry of Agriculture dashboard, that has now covers more than 1,000 mandis, traded a value of 3.7 lakh crore. And there is another important statistics from CFSC that everyone knows that 10,000 plus FU was being under scheme. In terms of sustainability and climate resilience, as per the MNRE that has created 4 lakh solar pumps. They are replaced with electric power. Then Agri Entrepreneurship models, organic farming, like I have given some of the examples of Sayadri farms of built resilient value chains. This is the impact of agri rural development. Apart from that, which are all the areas, like the role of agri entrepreneurship in income diversification? How we can do examples of income generating enterprises just listed here. Take one by one activity in agri inputs. There are n number of income generating enterprises can be taken up. maybe related to seed production, organic manure, biopesticide, nursery rhyming. Take agri processing, there is an opportunity for milling, oil extraction. In terms of agriculture marketing and logistics, there are FPOs. You connect all the FPOs. Mobile mandis you can, cold chains you can take. In terms of value-added products, name any product like jam, there are n number of diversification one can do. Agri-tourism. This is, like farm stays, eco-tourism, experiential agriculture packages. So wherever, whatever you are doing, you can have a tourism, you can include concept with your the business you are doing, so that that is becoming another income generating enterprise. Whatever you are eating as a rural area, that only we can provide agriculture. Allied sectors, growing demand for poultry, goat farming, aquaculture, mushroom culture, boat and sheep rearing. So there is the increasing trend, increasing consumption of non-vegetarians. Just related to this, there is a school. In terms of digital services, agri-tech startups, advisory platforms, weather and price information. So similarly, what are the other diversification? Agri employment, how we can create employment. So there is a direct employment. Direct means like entrepreneurs become entrepreneurs. That is how it has been impacted. Direct employment like transporters, local artisans, strategic partners, input suppliers. Human empowerment, like SHG based enterprises. Engagement, startups in precision agriculture. Organic. This is how there are lot of opportunities still existing. The empowerment of women and youth through agri entrepreneurship. Like, what are the empowerment dimensions? I have listed the dimensions like economic empowerment, social recognition, skill enhancement, collective bargaining. So how they impact? You take the social recognition, like women-led SHGs. So they are running, like drones today. This is a social recognition. See, I have evaluated the our drone DD scheme, wherein women were telling that they, because of this becoming a pilot, drone pilot, she got a more recognition, social recognition, and around her area. So that is how. Then skill enhancement, training in finance, production, management. There are the women and government. Then for sustainable resource uses, there is a promotion of sustainable resources. Yes, like what are all the resources like water? There is a sustainable practice like drip and sprinkler, rainwater harvesting, watershed management. What more you should do? Conserve water. Soil, if you take, there is a sustainable practices like organic farming, mulching, crop rotation. What are the benefits? Like prevent degradation, enhances fertility, energy, biodiversity. So I have mentioned different sustainable practices, which one can forest, giant forest management, such as harvesting lots. This prevents the deforestation, enhances the okay. This is how I have tried to cover the different aspects in the entrepreneurs. What is the way forward? So there are strategies for strengthening the like farmer producer organization. So wherein you can aggregate smallholder. In terms of infrastructure development, there are need for back houses, market linking, value addition, supply chain digital, financial inclusion, credit access, PPP, public-private partnership, like involving agri startups, agri tech firms, retailers in supply chain innovations. So these are all the strategies, the government has been focusing already. Still, thereby we can still strengthen these value chains. Thereby, we can develop. If we see the development, like just a rural broadband, how it can help the development. There is a scope for this. Okay. So it's for different dimensions like agriculture that will help in access to weather forecasts, market prices. So in terms of finance, digital payments, online banking, DBT, direct benefit transfer. In terms of entrepreneurship dimensions, e-commerce access, digital marketing, remote business. Okay. So that is how we have the importance of digital broadband, which can still focus on. Promotion of farmer producer enterprises. Why these collectives or own businesses are formed by farmer? Mainly to aggregate the produce. Because 86% of the farmers in India are small and marginal. So they have a very limited land. They are producing in very small quantity. So there is a need for aggregation. Otherwise, there will be an increase in cost of cultivation. If they want to purchase, any small farmer will come to purchase, inputs from market, it is a costly affair. That is the reason we should be able to, aggregate all these production, even procure inputs in bulk, undertake processing, branding, and marketing, generate rural employment, and the need for skilling, mentorship, and ecosystem when we are talking about agri-business. Majority of rural youth lack business exposure. That is the reason there should be a focus on agri-business. Technology adoption requires new sets. So that is possible with the help of AI, drones, value addition and processing are knowledge intensive. So like mainly related to food safety, packaging, and quality standards. There are the requirements. So see, though we have so many, training, capacity building programs by different institutions, as per the report of NCDC 2023, says only 5% of the rural youth are receiving the formal vocation. Just imagine what is the scope still exist. With this, I am concluding that these potential and transformative in terms of income diversification, prosperity, employment generation, strengthening the agricultural value chains, sustainable and climate resilient agriculture, women and youth empowerment. We have been observing recently more women and youth are entering into the agriculture. Many are leaving, at the same time replaced by technology integration, policy alignment, and national. So agri entrepreneurship is not just a means of economic development, it's a catalyst for social equality, equity, ecological balance. So there is a call for collaborative action for journey to sustainable and development that cannot be achieved in silence. Means collective efforts by all the stakeholders, government, research and academic institutions, private sector, agri-tech startups, NGOs and civil society, farmers. Thank you. But any questions are there, I will take it.
Thank you, Professor Ramappa. It was really a very nice session. Particularly your presentations bring the whole insight of the rural economy. What are the opportunities? What are the research that has gone in this area? What are the new opportunities that has been coming from? A sustained effort from all the stakeholders is required to basically enhance the lives of rural people. So definitely, I think the people who are engaged today in this webcast must be very happy that they had gained a lot of insights, because most of the people are not aware of that these many things is been happening in the agriculture sector. But definitely, your insight has thrown a lot of opportunities for the members, and particularly from me, from the group on development of rural economy, it has given me a lot of areas where we can work upon, we can collaborate, and we can do wonderful job work in this area for uplifting the rural economy. Although due to some technical glitches was there, but anyhow, we had we are thankful to you for accepting our invitation for this webcast, and we hope that in future, definitely in person also, will invite you for our program, and definitely will both the organization will be greatly benefited for the experience that we had. Thank you, Professor Ramappa, once again. Definitely, it was nice listening to you.
I sincerely thank sir for your institute for the opportunity to share my knowledge. Sir, since you have given me 1.5 hours, I thought I should try to cover the entire entire things within the one presentation. Okay, that is how I try to cover more and more. But all benefited, I'm so happy.
Yeah. Definitely. Even though in some fragmented part, if we want to have, we can discuss, and definitely it was really nice listening to you. So thanks once again. We'll definitely collaborate in future too. Thank you, Professor Ramappa.
Thank you very much, sir. If there are any questions, I can take it up, sir.
I think people have explained in such a simple manner that mostly supported by the data, it is clear. But anyhow, if any questions comes in, definitely we'll email you so that we can get the answer. And
thank you so much, sir.
Just one question. What are the licenses required for rice mill, like factory licenses, FSSI, etc.? And another person was asking for your presentation. So these are the two questions that has come up. So definitely presentation that is your recording will be there, and your
licenses for milk processing, sir, is it?
Yes, for processing of rice.
Processing of rice, sir.
Yeah, I think it is required, na? It is required.
Yes, sir. Milling, sir, as the one who are really interested in processing need to take a license from the processing industry. We have to register under MSME. Okay. Not much very quality parameters are there, sir.
Okay. So thanks you once again. Definitely we'll connect in future. Thank you so much.